Marathon. Bungie. Gonna be honest with you, man. This situation with Marathon might be some of the craziest thing that's happened since I have started this venture known as YouTube. What's going on, you guys? Gaming At here, coming at you with another video. Today we're gonna be talking about Marathon. First off, I want to be transparent. I hated on this damn game when it first got announced. And it wasn't necessarily anything the game did wrong. It just wasn't Destiny. In my personal opinion, someone that loved the Destiny brand, loved playing Destiny, just loved everything about Destiny, I was very, very torn when I felt like Bungie was putting all their eggs in the Marathon basket and they were just leaving the Destiny fans out to dry. You know, keep in mind, Destiny was around for a while. You know, it's still around, but it was definitely around for a while when it first happened. You know, I played that game for 8-9 years, and I would still be playing that game now if they actually put money behind Destiny. There for a while, they were putting all the money behind Marathon, and, you know, maybe some of the Destiny fans that's watching this video, you could comment how you felt. Me particularly, I was annoyed. I felt like they no longer cared about the demographic, and they no longer cared about the fans that got them where they're at, that's been supporting them for years and years at this point. And your boy was frustrated. But anyway, Marathon gets announced. And keep in mind, we've known about Marathon for a while now. The Marathon has been one of the worst kept secrets in a long time. Marathon, everyone knew Marathon. You know, every bad thing that happened to Destiny, you know, a lot of us was, well, you know, what do you expect when they have the bulk of their talent working on Marathon, especially PvP aspects? You know, when you look at stuff like other games do in PvP, they're constantly updating those things. And we didn't really feel like they were doing that with Marathon. And why? Because the bulk of the PvP talent that worked for Bungie was all working on Marathon. So right there, I already had this issue with Marathon. You know, it was taking away my the game that I wanted to play. It was taking away that. In a way, I got to thank them now because I'm able to play more games than I've ever been able to play. Destiny was a straight up addiction for me from about probably 2014, maybe 2013. I don't know. It was a while. Wow. I played that game for a significant amount of time during the Xbox One generation, damn near the entire Xbox One generation, and a good portion of the Xbox Series X generation. I played Destiny. So then when Marathon got announced, gonna be real, I wasn't very open to hearing anything about it. I looked at it as one of those aspects that Marathon is going to disappoint me because it's not going to be Destiny. And I think that's fair criticism. Maybe you guys can disagree or agree in the comment section below. So that's how it went for a while now. But then I got access to the alpha. I did play the alpha. I streamed it for about 3 to 4 hours. And I will say, even though myself, I never went back to the game, I can't say that the game wasn't interesting to any degree. It did show me that there is some fun to have in an extraction shooter. But I can't sit here and like lie to you guys and tell you that like I was mad excited to play Marathon. It was a fun experience, but my criticism going forward was, how are we going to do this long term? You know, it's easy to jump in there, play for a couple hours, and then jump out. Maybe do that every couple months, or when your friends drag you on. But these type of games, they solely drive on keeping you in the game over and over again. And I felt like that wasn't something that this game had going for it. You know, casual audience in general is going to have a hard time not only losing your stuff when you die once, also on top of that, you're going to lose everything every season. Now, certain communities like Diablo, they already do that. But a lot of the console demographic didn't like Diablo's perspective either when it comes to that. So I felt like that was already luring in the background. That was already attacking them from multiple aspects. PlayStation, you know, creeping in, expecting to you know, taking over. That was going in from multiple aspects. So I think Bungie had a completely uphill battle from, you know, kind of catering to an audience that didn't exist yet, which is, you know, the Marathon audience, and also upsetting your existing fans because they want to play these games. They want to jump in head first to these games. And I feel like a lot of them was very disappointed in the fact that they didn't feel like they got that aspect. They felt like it was one of those things where, you are putting one of these games out to dry in order to sacrifice it for an audience that you don't even know exists. So I think that was a big issue for a while. Then we start seeing all of this thieving stuff going on, this stealing artwork. And I'm sitting here like, how much could this realistically affect them? Because even though this is a bad look, they could always play stupid. Even if they did know or didn't know, they can always act like they didn't know. So I'm like, what's the worst that can happen with this? What is the worst that can happen with Marathon in terms of stolen artwork? They could go on and scrub, and everything's going to go back to the way it is, because they've done this a couple of times. Apparently they have stolen or borrowed, I guess, allegedly they have borrowed multiple SKUs of people's artworks when it comes to Destiny. So why is Marathon any different? So then we go into this, and it's just like, I didn't realize how bad it was. First off, we're going to go over some comments here in a second from the Marathon website. Well, the Marathon X account. I can't believe I just called it X. I don't think I've ever called it X. So we're going to go over that here in a second. But another thing that happened is Colin Moriarty said that PlayStation has killed all marketing plans for Marathon this holiday. That could mean a variety of things. That could mean that they are going to delay the game, because I truly believe the game needs to be delayed. Now, originally people were throwing out the concept that they might cancel it. That they might cancel this game. They might get this game up out of there. I didn't think that was a possibility. I actually felt like out of everything that can happen, this game getting canceled would be insane. It would be insane to cancel this game. But it does look like there might be a chance that happens. If you guys could look at the back, like, this is the gameplay. Not the gameplay, this is the trailer. And this is pretty much exactly what you play. But the problem is, with all this bad publicity, all the stuff going on in the industry, where does it end? So you're sitting here, you're looking at all this trailers, you're looking at all this, and I would say even before the bad publicity when it comes to artwork being stolen, I don't know, maybe you guys put in the comment section below, I felt like the actual concept of what was going of the beta and the alpha in general wasn't a good concept. It was very mixed. I feel like not everyone was in on this game. Not everyone was loving this game. It was a very mixed bag in general. So then when you actually have the actual game itself, got a mixed bag, got stuff going on with the artwork. I think at this point, Sony's looking at Bungie in terms of, can we trust you to even make games? Because this might lead... I used to think that even if Marathon was not successful, that because they spent so much money on Bungie, they would say, look, let's give them some more money and let's let them just go work more on Destiny. Even though maybe Destiny doesn't make as much money as it used to back in the day, I always felt like it was a strong IP. They would easily be able to make that money in the long run. But I'm going to be real with you. Like, we're in the territory where Marathon might not only get canceled, Bungie might get shut down. Because if you look at it from liability alone, is Sony going to feel comfortable and PlayStation going to feel comfortable supporting a studio that has been caught in this many allegations for this long? They've kind of only had bad publicity ever since they were bought by PlayStation. You had the thing where Homeboy was asking people to go look at his cars. There's a lot of aspects that goes into this that I do feel, to a point, I can understand why people are frustrated with this company. But let's pop over here. The one thing I want to look at is I want to look at the trailers, not the trailers, the comments. Let's see. It could be easy. Addict, you are exaggerating. What is the general social media aspect of this is. I'd like to go over some of the comments. It don't matter. So this was made May the 16th. That was 10 days ago. Join the team in our latest Play MA Live. We'll be discussing the alpha feedback and answering some of your questions. Let's see what people have to say to this. Read the room. We have brainstorming that's been fewer, more cheerful. Let's chat. I think that's an ad. Utterly undercooked. What a disaster. Hey, hire artists that don't steal from other artists. So about the blatant theft, you're all trying to sweep under the rug. You guys are cooked. Poor Joe, bro. I don't know how they come back from this. They both look absolutely finished right now. Look, people, they're reading stuff. As with Concord, the discussion surrounding the game is far more exciting than the game itself. Not a good sign. I'll agree with this comment a little bit. When the game, I would say like Assassin's Creed, Harry Potter, there's been games where the discussion around the game is bigger than the actual game itself. It's getting more traffic than the game itself. This is supposed to be the same director that made Halo. About 2 minutes of pre-written, lawyer-approved script slated with no emotion and spoken while looking down at said script 90% of the time. I'm going to be real with you guys. They should have canceled this whole stream. This stream should have never came to light of day. This is like the day before these new patches of artwork was reportedly stolen. Apparently, there's been other stuff that's happening since then. Apparently, Marathon official Discord is banning anyone that mentions the real artist is stolen. So, I guess they're banning people. That's what this individual says, which is crazy if that's the case. You can't really ban people to this degree, for something like this, because then it looks like you're trying to hide it. Now, maybe they've unbanned them since then. Maybe this was the original, reaction. Let's stop people from talking about it until we figure out what we could do. My opinion with these kind of situations, just let the Twitter rot X rot, because there ain't nothing you could do to stop what's going on in the industry currently. The prophecy has been filled. Concord, Marathon, Fair Games. I will say it's looking kind of crazy, man. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Marathon. I feel like Marathon is a very, very cool concept. But we have seen where some of the developers have been very clear that they felt like a PvE was required of this. Because the developers that are working on Destiny, their mindset was, we want some of the people that play Destiny, we want that to appeal to them as well. And it didn't look like Bungie had any care whatsoever if that happened or not. It is interesting, man. I hate to see it. I really do. I hate to see it. I feel like, this is bad for the industry in general. Bungie is a very, very, very old studio that's been around for a long time. And I would hate to see something happens to them. I'm hoping that even if Marathon gets canceled or it gets extremely delayed, that even with the investment going into that, they will continue to let them put more money into Destiny. Because in my opinion, that's the best thing you could do. Put money into Destiny. Because you spent billions of dollars on Bungie. The last thing you want to do is just cancel them in general. But appreciate everyone coming through. We're going to go ahead and end this. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content on here. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Whew, it's been a crazy week.